Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Mademoiselle Lina, and you can find me online at www.conjureknits.com. Today, we're here to do the Aries TarotScope for November 2021, and we're going to be using the Fairies Oracle by Brian Froud. Before we get started, I would like to say thank you for viewing my video. And if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and click on the little bell so that you'll receive notifications of when I go live or upload new videos. I do try to stay pretty busy here on my channel. I do all 12 zodiac signs for the monthly tarot scopes. On Sundays, we have Conjure Crew with myself, Mambo Tanya, and the Black Bonnet Witch. On Mondays, I upload the weekly forecast. Every day, I do a card of the day reveal. On Wednesdays, we have the virtual book club. We are currently reading the Sword of Truth series by Terry Goodkind. It has been so much fun following Richard and Kaylin on their adventures, so you are definitely going to want to join us for that. I also pop on from time to time and do free readings, so make sure you get my notifications by clicking that little bell. All right, I feel that I have rambled on long enough. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Card number 1. What is the challenge for this month? And we have Geomancy. He refuses to tell me what the G in his name stands for because, he says, the more we know about him, the less power he has and the harder it is to do his job. This tells you a lot about him. His powers lie in our imaginations and fears, not in the real world, not in any of the real worlds. This is the wicked thing in the closet who keeps frightened children awake at night with eerie snuffling, shuffling sounds. But when you turn on the light and open the door, he isn't there. Brian wrote, he exists only through the collection of our fears. The hobby thrives on fears, getting stronger and stronger until we face him. He is a sham, a tiny fear blown all out of proportion, and the smallest positive thought will banish him. All of fairyland knows this, and none is afraid of him. G. Hobby's job is to wave our imaginary fears in front of us, making them look as alive and real as he can. He's pretty good at this. The challenge he offers us is to see that certain fears of ours are imaginary and to distinguish them from things we actually need to be cautious about. In this way, he tries to teach us to look past the fear and see real true let truth, whatever that truth is. It is a difficult job, and G. Hobby, the book, Gotcha, the feline, and a few other hardworking fairies get together twice a week for otherworld nectar, hazelnuts, cheese, and applesauce, and to grumble about humans and to support each other. The work they do, hard as it is merely an apprenticeship for the much harder work for which they get to wear a starry crown, like Epona's Wild Daughter and Lies of the Shadows. It takes a lot of practice and skill in dealing with human flaws to get promoted to that level. If you could hear the stories they tell. Card number 2. What positive energies can I embrace this month? And we have the Topsy-Turvets. This is a change of viewpoint, fresh looks, new ways of seeing. When life is confusing, the Turvets may come to visit you. Nothing draws them like a bit of mental muddle. They don't cause our disarray. We are very good at doing that for ourselves and each other, but they are attracted to it. Confusion is an important stage of growth, and they delight in helping things to grow. They live everywhere. Not only humans need their help, and are exceedingly busy. Fortunately, they are quite prolific, so there are a lot of them. When the Topsy-Turvets show up, it indicates that someone needs to look again, to make an effort to see things from a different point of view. It suggests that confusion may exist because we are asking the wrong questions. Or perhaps we have made assumptions that are incorrect, and we have run into a brick wall built of those misconceptions. The Turvets ask us to back up, to question our assumptions, and to try to see things from the viewpoints of the other people involved in our muddle. They ask us to let go of our attachment to our own point of view, to stop saying ought and should, especially about other people. Most emphatically, they suggest that we start trying to see things as they really are instead of as someone thinks they should be. This card is a warning that someone involved in the question or issue at hand is mentally upside down, or possibly sideways. Card number 3. What negative energies do I need to negotiate this month? And we have D. If you don't get him on the wish, you might catch him on the wash. But probably not, because by the time you think you've got a commitment from him, he's swung the other way again. Poor D, he can't decide between this and that, or is it that and this? If he just had more information, if he just had some kind of guarantee about the outcome, if only he could be certain about things. Well, he can't. That isn't how life is. D sits on our shoulder as we wobble around trying to make a decision, and just as we think we've about got it, he mutters, "But what if?" And very likely, we dissolve into confusion again. Decisions make him nervous because they involve commitment, and D seems to be frightened of that. What if he makes the wrong decision and it ruins his or someone else's life? What if he makes no decision, dithering forever, and that causes ruin? I feel for D, for he is the only one of the fairy challengers who doesn't know what we should be doing. That is, he knows we should be making our decisions clearly and cleanly at the appropriate time, and he has some ideas about how we might more easily go about that, but he is not himself a good decision maker. Sometimes he whispers almost tearfully in my ear, "You're going to drive me mad, if you don't just make up your mind." There are many reasons why we hesitate when decision and action are appropriate. However, most of them boil down to fear. Fear of making a mistake, fear of harming others, fear of losing something of value to us, fear of harming ourselves, fear of responsibility, fear that we are simply not able to make a proper decision. We need to look honestly at our insecurities, recognizing them for what they are, our insecurities, not reality. Then we need to resolve what we can and set the rest in the balance against what will surely happen if we continue to hesitate. Premature decisions and actions often create problems, but lack of decision is a decision also, and one that creates its own set of misfortunes. D is also known as the Libra's bane, but an indecisive Libra truly is D's bane. He would be so relieved if we would just make our decisions and our commitments and stick to them. Then he might learn to do this for himself and be in a better position to help others. Air. What I was trying to say was that sometimes it is possible to learn from watching others learn. D would like to do this. Then he might be better able to teach those processes, or perhaps not. At least, I think that is what I mean. The Unity knows there are plenty of beings who need help with this. Card number 4. What do I need to make time for this month? And we have the Lom. She is the Lom in the same way that the MacGregor is the chief of the clan MacGregor, the Lom of all Loms. The Lom is a charitable soul in the old sense of the word charity, which is loving and giving. She knows the joy of giving without expectation of return. From practicing this ourselves, we learn that there always is a return, often from the least expected source. The universe likes to keep its accounts up to date, and the Lom's job is to encourage us to keep the credit side of our cosmic accounts balanced by freely giving. We have been given the earth, the sun, the stars, and the moon. We have been given trees and flowers and things to eat and a multitude of prospective friends. It's going to take a considerable amount of generosity to come into balance with all those gifts we have already received. When we fall out of balance in what we give and what we receive, we can have constipation or diarrhea of the spirit. Spiritual constipation makes us toxic and bloated and unable to deal with more intake. Spiritual diarrhea makes us energetically depleted, limp, and needy. The spiritual forms of these particular malfunctions are entirely a result of our choices about balancing our giving and receiving. You may think you have it right, but if things are not going well for you, the LOM suggests you think again. If you are pushing and pushing at something, it can often help greatly just to back off, relax about it, and let the energy flow. If at the same time that you back up from your efforts, you put energy into the universe elsewhere, then energy just naturally has to flow back to you in the most appropriate and generous form. The universe also has to keep its accounts balanced. Studying the LOM's picture, a client once wrote, "The LOM is still bugging me. She looks passive, but watchful. I think she feels that this giving business needs a bit more explanation." It is about being ready to do that sometimes quite small thing just when it is needed. A pinch of fairy dust in just the right place at just the right time works wonders, but big clouds of fairy dust just makes everyone sneeze. This is true. Sometimes a small bit of helpfulness now prevents a big need later, and sometimes a big thing is needed right from the beginning. Another client noted that the LOM's wings looked a bit tattered and wondered if this indicated that it is sometimes appropriate to give until it hurts. Yes, it is, the LOM says. Not as a habit, not as a sort of martyrdom, but only on the rare occasions when it is truly needed. One of the LOM's charming customs is to give through whatever pair of hands is nearest, providing they allow her to do so. Do you let the LOM give through your hands, or do you put them in your pockets and hold back, holding on to what is yours? If so, you are missing a lot of fun, some interesting experiences, and spiritual growth. Card number 5. What opportunity should I seize this month? And we have the fairy who was kissed by the pixies. Pixie kisses are not chocolate like the well-known Hershey's Kisses, but the pixies claim that they are a whole lot sweeter and don't do anything dreadful to your teeth. However, if the pixies have been munching fairy chocolate, some pixie kisses give people freckles. As Brian wrote, the pixies say that there cannot be too much kissing. A fairy kiss is a blessing indeed. Pay attention when you feel a fairy touch on your cheek or lips. Pixie kisses, in fact, all fairy kisses, are to be noticed and savored. If you do notice, you will find yourself smiling without meaning to, and feel a surge of warmth swell in your heart. This fairy, Morna, is the queen of love, all kinds of love: brotherly, sisterly, parental, friendly, unconditional or conditional, either or both. She tells us, it takes perfect people to have a perfect love. But we, imperfect as we all are, may have many loves, each one perfect for who we are and for what we need now. These loves may not feel perfect, they may not look perfect from the outside, but they fit us now. If we don't like them, she shrugs, then we need to change ourselves so that a different kind of perfection fits us. Here we see Morna in her role as heart surgeon, using the power of love to help us open our hearts when we have closed them out of fear, helping us to expand and become more of what we have the potential to be. Yes, it is true, having an open heart, being willing to love and be loved, makes us vulnerable to loss and grief. But Morna assures me, and I believe her, that once a heart is truly and fully open, even the deepest grief becomes bittersweet like dark chocolate, and there is no pain that is not balanced by the greater joy of love. The feeling of giving love is what makes us feel good. What keeps us from enjoying it fully is our desires to own others and to have them constantly prove our importance to them. Such proof is impossible. However, this kind of conditional and self-limited love is part of how we learn about real love. If you ever hear yourself asking, "Do you really love me?" or saying, "I don't think you really love me," then you know that the love you are giving to the other is conditional and limited. Morna would like to help us learn to love others without conditions, and she also would like us to learn to love while still staying properly centered within ourselves. It is important for us not to lose ourselves in others and let their desires become ours, while losing sight of what we need for fulfillment in our own lives. In the long run, or even in the not so very long run, that never works out. We only think we know what others want and need, and sooner or later we get it disastrously wrong, usually by thinking we know what they ought to need. We are all learning about love, and in the process of learning, we all act as teachers for each other. Ram Dass said, "The karma of relationships is the hardest karma there is." Believe it, Morna advises, and this is true no matter what the relationship is. But for all that, love in its purest sense is the fast track to self-realization and enlightenment. The wild thing at the top of the picture is filled with bliss and is longing to cuddle its way to enlightenment. Remember, everything and everyone in fairy glows with its own light. So do we. Much of that light is the glow of love. Remembering that is so important. Opening our hearts more widely to the giving and receiving of love evokes the well-kissed fairy within. All right, my lovelies. Let's take a look at the bigger picture here. Card number 1. What is the challenge for this month? And we have Geomancy. It is time to look for the truth behind our fears, to distinguish between what is real and what is just our projection of old traumas and fears into our imaginary future. By delving into our old patterns, we can see past them to a more liberating life. Only by facing these fears honestly and seeing them for what they are do we gain greater ability to open our hearts to the singer of courage and gain in strength to face the really difficult challenges in our lives. Each false fear confronted and resolved makes us much stronger. Card number 2. What positive energies can I embrace this month? And we have the Topsy-Turvets. The Turvets suggest that things need to be looked at from another angle. We need to back off from our emotional entanglement and look anew. Much of the apparent confusion about the issue is caused by a faulty point of view. Get the opinions of honest others, and then relook at your own. Defensiveness and denial may be causing much difficulty. Try imagining that you are looking at the situation from the point of view of each of the others involved. This is not an exercise in deciding how the other ought to see things, but in discovering how they really do. Words like "he ought to see that" are not useful at this time. But you already know all of this. You are one of the very few who have the traits of the Topsy-Turvets. You are able to see things from everyone's perspective. This is a very positive energy for you. Card number 3. What negative energies do I need to negotiate this month? And we have, indeed, it's decision time. Time to make up your mind, make a decision, then stick to your commitments. Set yourself a definite time period to complete your decision, right down to the day and hour. Give yourself time to put the decision into practice before it is too late. Once that arbitrary but carefully judged decision time is set, ask for guidance for your highest good. Then weigh, consider, ponder, and gather information. If we do this, and if we have asked for aid, the answer seems somehow to fall magically into place at the appointed time. Then it is just a matter of trusting that answer and carrying it through. We can ask for help with that as well, if we wish. It is willingly given. Card number 4. What do I need to make time for this month? And we have the LOM. If you are stuck or blocked in a situation and the LOM turns up, you probably need to stop focusing on what you are trying to accomplish and simply give to others, freely and generously and unconditionally. Try a few random acts of kindness, unconditionally given, of course. Go do some volunteer work somewhere. Mow your elderly neighbor's lawn or take homemade soup or some flowers from your garden to someone you know who is ill. Give some help to a coworker just because they need it. Give to a needy stranger whether or not you think he deserves it. Take flowers into a hospital and give them to a stranger at random. Or give them to a nurse with compliments from the universe. Give a bit more than you think you can afford. Go a little further than you think you reasonably can. Empty your wallet or purse of all your cash for a beggar on the street. Don't worry, it will fill up again, much faster than you might expect. Card number 5. What opportunity should I seize this month? And we have the fairy who was kissed by the Pyxes. Oh wow, what can I say here? Love, sweet love. Accept it, burnish it up, add to it, and pass it on. The presence of the fairy who was kissed by the Pyxes suggests giving and receiving love and intimacy in any of a wide variety of relationships. She gives notice that this is a time to open and heal our hearts. Different aspects of life may well be flowing happily together, healing separations and hurts from the past. Bonding may take place and deep feelings emerge. Changes for the better may occur in all aspects of life, but especially in relationships, which may be deepening and becoming richer. You may be experiencing love therapy for opening the heart as new relationships begin and old ones develop. Enjoy! This is going to be such an exciting month for you. A month of growth and adventure, amazement and wonder. Sure, we do have some work to do, but it is so worth it. I hope that this reading has helped you and will help lead you and guide you throughout the month of November. If you do feel that it has helped you and that it will help someone else, please feel free to share this video. Sharing is caring. And if you would like a more in-depth and personal reading, you can go to my website at www.conjureknits.com and click on the link at the top of the page that says Book a Reading. I hope you all have a very beautiful and amazing month. Love you bunches. Shalom.